So, Billings, we've described ourselves as the firm on a mission. What do you imagine that being?
Yeah, I mean, look, we deal with people who've been injured and the impacts it has on them and their families. That's who we deal with every day. And for me, I want to make a difference in those people's lives and also taking that personal relationship and making a change in society and making our roads safer for my children, for my wife, for our whole community. And I think we have unique insight into these injuries and what we see on the roads every day because we see how it really impacts individuals. And for most of the community, you see a headline, 2 people killed in a car crash. It's a headline. But when you're sitting there next to the individual who lost a loved one, it's their life. It's not just a headline. And we see how that impacts them, waking up every day thinking about them and the grief it causes. It's really tough. It's tough sitting with the clients and meeting the families and seeing the direct impact that these headlines have. And I think we want to take that emotion, those relationships that we've built with our clients, and turn that into change, turn that into justice. And justice is more than just a lawsuit. It's making change in the community for the better.
For well over a decade, I have seen time and again how these car crashes, calamities, all could be prevented. Every single case that we work on could be prevented. They are all preventable cases that we work on. And so if you have this preventable injury and you have this client who comes to you suffering and who is in pain and who needs a back surgery and who just is unimaginable pain that they were not expecting, they did not have any role in. They were either driving down the road or walking down the street and out of nowhere smashed into. It's like, how is this possible? And they almost come in, I feel like clients come in with this like dazed affect where they have so many burdens on them, they don't even know what questions to ask. And when you see that over and over again in thousands of clients that we've had, it just feels like to me enough is enough. And it's not about every individual case, it's the sum of those cases in that way that it's affected me and my vision for our firm to really try to be an agent for change.
What do you think is the best way for us as a law firm to make that change?
Historically, law firms have been investigators, pioneers, persons really pushing the limit of both the law and figuring out what's going on.
Yeah.
They uncover bad acts. And when it comes to car crashes, it's like the most obvious bad act that is literally in our face every day. Headlines of car crashes, people killed, people injured. We see it on the highways backed up. And so we just, as a society, are not changing our behavior to prevent those.
One of the things that we talk about in our office is so often they're called accidents. They're not accidents. These are crashes made by decisions, whether it's looking at your cell phone or speeding or not paying attention. These are not accidents. I think it goes to that point, right? Like society, whether it's the insurance companies or whatever it is, have had this idea that these are just accidents that are, they just happen. They don't just happen. There's decisions that are made, and the terrible impact it has on people is just staggering. Getting back to the idea of what can we do to help our communities, obviously driving safer is one, but what do we do as a firm? We're a firm on a mission. What do we do?
Well, number one, that mission is our clients. We want to advocate and seek the most we can for those clients. We want to seek justice, true justice, so that they can live better and happier lives. That's number one.
When you say justice, what does that mean?
It means compensation. It means money damages for what they have been through.
Yeah.
It means money for future medical treatment. It means money for rides to the hospital. It means money for lost wages they may have if their working has been cut short. It means if they can't do hobbies, money to try to investigate and find new hobbies, because these injuries are serious and they affect people in a way that I don't think everyone understands.
Our legal system sets up justice in a financial term, right? So the injuries are compensated through financial awards. But I think justice encompasses more than that. It encompasses getting proper medical treatment, right? So we work with our clients to get and ensure that they have full medical treatment. We get them set up with doctors. We'll coordinate with their doctors to make sure that it's submitted to insurance or whether they use a letter of protection. So I think that's a piece of justice. I think additionally, justice involves making sure that our client's voice is heard and that their story is told. I think that's a part of making a full recovery. I don't think until you've been in an accident and dealt with pain and had to live with that, I don't think you can fully understand what our clients go through. And I think telling that story is a part of it. So to me, justice is far greater than just the financial legal compensation. It's making sure that our clients are advocated for, get proper treatment, and feel like they tell their story.
Seems to me our mission as a firm is much broader too than our specific clients. So the trauma that we have seen, in my view, just has to stop. We have to stop making these decisions where people are deciding to look at their phone and crash into somebody. We want to be an advocate for change for all of society. And that's why we're putting out messages of slowing down, stop speeding, don't drive drunk, stop driving distracted. Because we need to identify that these are wrongs in our society. Insurance companies have these advertisements where they actually show car crashes, right? Show an aftermath. Oh, yeah, something smashed in, right? They then pretend that everyone's like happy and fine. And I can tell you, after watching hundreds of dash cam footage, body-worn cameras and video from the scene of crashes, no one is happy. The person who caused the crash is upset, if not also hurt. The person who's been struck is often hurt. People on the scene, the witnesses, are upset. There is this whole level of angst, and it affects everyone around them.
I think that is the human interaction, right? Obviously, when you're involved with a car accident, there's this human and this emotional component to it. And the insurance companies, the advertisements have completely gotten rid of that. Every single crash affects that person for the rest of their life.
As a firm, we're trying to look now beyond just the individual cases, right? And so what I think us as a society, we need to also advocate for legislative change, which is something that we have done. We're also looking into corporate wrongs, right? Where companies either are poisoning someone, greedily taking money from people, they're engaging in unfair trade practices, trying to uncover these wrongs beyond just a car crash client.
Yeah.
We're looking towards like society and to legislate these things. And I know attorneys in our firm have been active in that. I've been active in that, to really advocate for a better world generally, to protect everyone.
I think it's taking steps to make changes in the society so we have a more safe community, right? So the laws you talk about, and I think some of the things that we do as a firm to help this mission is going out to high schools and talking with the students about what decisions they make and how they can make decisions to drive more safely, right? And showing them the real impact of a car crash. Again, what you see on TV, this cleaned up version, this happy-go-lucky version of a car crash, stands in stark contrast when you show one of those body cams and you see the absolute chaos associated with a car crash and the fear in people's eyes, right? So I think talking to students in high school and showing them the reality and consequences of a car crash, I think that's played a major role in what we've done in our community and one of the things that we like to do as a firm to get our message out.
The other aspect I want to talk about, Pete, is what is, what this mission means to me.
Yeah.
Because I have seen firsthand with my father, who's been involved in, unfortunately, a few very serious incidents where he was severely injured having to have surgeries. I've seen it where one of my best friends was killed by a drunk driver. Awful situation. And it still hits home. Every time I talk to a client, I'm seeing my friend, I'm seeing my father in that person. And that's what I really want to change, because like, we don't have to do this. We don't have to hurt each other. Because very rarely is someone intentionally getting in that crash, or intentionally not shoveling their sidewalk, or intentionally, allowing some trip hazard to exist.
Yeah.
It's a decision they make to just do something they don't realize maybe affects others.
They don't realize the decision that they're making is going to have this consequence.
Yeah. And
if you told them, hey, look, if you put down sand today, of course they're going to do it.
yeah.
There's not the connection. There's not the causation. Like, here's decision one is going to cause this result.
Yeah. It's also seen in corporate greed too. We see that in, time and time again, there have been companies that have poisoned persons, workers, and I don't think they're intentionally doing it, but they're ignoring studies or ignoring safety standards, all to make a buck. And that worries me too, and that's something we need to change as well.
I think it's worse than that. I think it is intentional. I think just like people make choices when they speed or when they tailgate, I think those corporate entities are making choices based on dollars and cents. And I think they make the calculation that's better for them to put out an unsafe product. So I think it's far worse.
Yeah. The insurance companies are not necessarily any better. The insurance companies will often make decisions not based on the humanity of a situation, not based on how this has affected someone, but based on numbers, on risk. They try to take away that human element from the analysis of claims. And that's something our firm wants to stop as well. Our mission is to make people realize that when you injure someone, when one of your insureds, when an insurance company has an insured who injures someone, that person is a human that this has had a significant impact on.
I feel like I feel like one of the things we do really well, and this is a piece of our mission, is telling our client's story, right? I feel like us as lawyers, we are the voice of our client in telling their story, whether it be to an adjuster, defense counsel, or a jury. Our job is telling their story. And I think that goes hand in hand with what you're saying.
It's not about us. The client is the hero. They're the one suffering. They're the one that has to continue on. They're the one who has to have that power within, the perseverance to keep on and to push forward and to go to treatment and to seek justice. Because at any time they can just give up.
Yeah.
They don't have to bring a claim when they've been injured. They can just say, that's life and move on. But that's not right. That's not fair, and that's not what our law says. Our law says if someone else injures you, that you can bring a claim. And that's why we have insurance. But instead of taking that burden seriously as an insurance company, they often ignore it. And that's why we have to be here, to protect these clients and to advocate for them and to be their sidekick as they go on this heroic journey of justice.
One of the things that always shocks me about the conduct of the insurance companies is how quickly they're trying to settle these crash cases, right? So we hear from clients that the insurance companies have contacted them to settle the case before they've even finished their treatment, right? So how can the insurance company evaluate the true fair value of a case when they haven't even finished their treatment or know what the injuries are? It reeks of bad faith and trying to take advantage of people who simply don't know what their rights are. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, is a really good example of how the insurance companies don't treat this as justice. They're trying to get this settled and resolved for as cheaply as possible, regardless of how it's impacted the individual. They take no ownership of the damages that our clients suffer.
Ultimately, the mission of our firm is threefold. It's to educate the public about the crashes that are occurring. It's to make change, whether through legislation, lawsuits, activism. And it's ultimately to use our clients' cases as a way to implement that change and to highlight what we as a society need to stop. This has to stop. And our firm's mission is to work on these issues, to prevent harm and to encourage safer driving and to encourage better practices across the board and to make people realize that these decisions that they make are causing real and lasting harm to our clients. And we're going to keep doing that until it stops.
When it comes down to it, our mission is to get justice for our clients. And what that means to me is making sure that they get as much financial compensation as they can, that we make our roads safer, and that we educate our communities so they can make safer choices and prevent these car crashes from happening in the future.